Jim O'Callaghan.
Minister, you'll be aware that a number of weeks ago, An Garda Síochána made an announcement in respect of a review it had carried out about the Garda Youth Diversion Programme. The announcement indicated that there were a number of significant concerns in respect of the programme. It showed that a lot of children who were arrested or apprehended were not referred to the youth diversion programme. And I just want to know what the government intends to do about this, as obviously it has serious consequences for the whole youth diversion programme.
2 minutes.
Question. Again, I share the Deputy's concerns about the very serious issues outlined by the Garda Commissioner's interim report on youth crime cases, which went from 2010 to 2017. In that period, about 160,000 youth crime incidents were referred for consideration under the Garda Diversion Programme. Roughly one-third of these incidents were deemed unsuitable for inclusion in the juvenile diversion system, and it has emerged that about 8,000 of these crimes were not properly pursued. And this is a completely unacceptable situation, and it must be thoroughly addressed in the interests of victims and the proper administration of justice, and for the future welfare of the children who committed the crimes. In addition to the apology which was appropriately issued by the Garda Commissioner, Gardaí have commenced a process to contact victims and to also provide a helpline for anyone who might be affected by the failure to process these cases, and the helpline details are on the Garda website. I am anxious that all relevant information must be made available to all victims, including the steps being taken to deal with the failures that have occurred. A number of fundamental issues have been identified by the Garda examination, including inadequate ICT and supervision, a lack of training and alleged failings by individual Gardaí. Concerns about similar gaps have surfaced previously on different issues, and as the Deputy is aware, last month the Government published the implementation plan, which will give effect to the report on the Commission for the Future of Policing in Ireland. The plan is aimed at addressing in a systematic way all the failures identified. The Government is committed to the implementation of the Commission's report, and a programme office has been established in the Department of Taoiseach to oversee and report on progress. In addition, the Policing Authority will continue to follow up with an ongoing examination of these specific youth justice-related matters to ensure the effectiveness of the remedial action which the Commissioner has set in train. As I mentioned, the issues related to Garda oversight of cases deemed too serious for diversion and not to the Garda Diversion Programme or to the community-based Garda Youth Diversion projects which support the diversion programme. I am assured that no negative implications have been identified for these projects arising from this issue, and I can assure the Deputy that both I and Minister Flanagan will keep a very close touch with the Commissioner and the Policing Authority to monitor progress.
The Minister will agree that it is a very serious issue dealing with criminal activity by children. Unless you can deter and divert children from criminal activity by the time they get to 18 years of age, there's a strong likelihood that in adulthood they're going to continue on a criminal path. Back in 2001, the Children's Act was introduced and it established the Juvenile Diversion Programme. It's a programme that has worked very effectively. What it seeks to do is to provide community-based initiatives for children who are caught up in the criminal justice system, provided they accept and admit their responsibility for crimes that they have committed. It's obviously hugely dependent upon An Garda Síochána as well, liaising with juvenile liaison officers. And what we saw here, Minister, and what's so disturbing about this, is that during the period July 2010 to July 2017, approximately 7,900 offences were not dealt with to conclusion, and that concerned 3,500 children. So I know what the Minister has stated in respect of it's a matter of concern. I know the Garda Síochána are looking at it as the policing authority, but what does the Government propose to do about it?
Ministers.
Thanks very much. Again, as the Deputy has said, the Garda authorities have taken a number of technical and organisational steps to prevent recurrence of the failures outlined in the Garda review of cases from 2010 to 2017. I advise that these measures have led to very substantial improvements in case management. More work is underway within the Garda Síochána to verify the full details of the treatment of youth crimes during that time, including an external validation process, which commenced in mid-January. In addition, the Commission has also established a National Bureau for Child Diversion to improve further management of this whole area. And as Minister of State with responsibility for youth justice, I have initiated work to develop a new youth justice strategy. I took this initiative following the expiry of the Youth Justice Action Plan 2014-2018. I will be chairing an expert steering group to guide this work, which will have its first meeting on the 6th of February next. The development of the strategy will provide an opportunity for broad consultation to support enhanced approaches to youth justice matters based on cooperation between state agencies and community partners. So not only are we following up, and the Police Authority will continue to engage in rigorous examination of these matters and the actions outlined by the Commissioner to address the systemic, cultural and disciplinary issues within Garda Síochána. So we're not only looking backwards, we're looking forwards as well, and I agree wholeheartedly with the Deputy. This is a very serious issue. It shouldn't have occurred, and we want to make sure that these young people are given the support they needed and that victims are also assisted.
Well, youth justice is an extremely important issue, and I'm pleased to hear that the Minister is saying he has responsibility for youth justice. Sometimes it falls between two stools, from the Minister for Children and the Department of Justice. But we really need to recognise it's not just the children who weren't referred through the youth diversion programme who were failed. It was also the victims of the crimes who were failed. There were some 7,900 crimes that were committed. Each one of the victims who made a complaint is entitled to have that complaint thoroughly investigated and dealt with, irrespective of whether it's a child who committed the offence or not. And similarly, there are very many other children who went through the youth diversion programme, who went through the process of taking it seriously in an effort to try to get off the path of criminality. If they see that other people who didn't bother engaging with the programme are simply getting away with it and the state ignored them and they didn't have to face any consequences for the crime, well, then it's going to undermine the whole scheme. So I'd urge Minister Stanton to take responsibility for it, to be seen as the person within government driving this issue, as it's a crucial issue to ensure that children are diverted from crime at an early stage.
And I want to again thank the Deputy across for his support and his sincerity on these matters, and I welcome his support on these matters. With respect to victims, in addition to the sincere apology issued by the Commissioner, Gardaí have commenced a process to contact victims and have also provided a helpline for anybody who might be affected by the failure to process these cases. Clearly, all relevant information must be made available to the victims, including the steps being taken to deal with the failures that have occurred. And as I said at the start last Concora, it is very concerning that there were repeated failures in the cases of some prolific young offenders. Justice was not done for the victims or for the young offenders whose behaviour should have been repeatedly challenged. The issues raised in the report serve to highlight that many young offenders are themselves vulnerable individuals and underlines the need to address offending in a strategic, multi-agency manner, as recommended by the Commission on the future of policing. And I want to take the opportunity as well, as Concur, to commend the Commissioner on the work he's done and his team to date in dealing with this very serious matter, and also the Policing Authority in the professional way that they handle this matter and continue to handle it. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.